Oh, now, this is a story all about how local soccer media got flipped, turned upside down. And we like to take a minute, so grab a beer so cold, and we'll tell you how we became electric gold. In White House, Tennessee, born and raised on the soccer fields was where we spent most of our days. Reading Mad Magazine and riding our bikes with a known propensity for rocking the mic. Now we're a trio of guys who are getting kinda old, cheering on the boys and gold with every bit of our soul. Screaming our heads off while drinking some beers, hoping to give Cincy and Miami something to fear. Now Evan, John and Ryan are kicking the facts about Nashville SC, and they'll never come whack. If anything, we can say the show is rare. Acoustic blue and electric gold, the only colors we wear. We pull up Degoties about 7:38, and we yell to the refs, yo home, smell you later. We look at the castle, we feeling so bold. We sit on our thrones, we're electric gold.
Everybody, it's Electric Gold. I'm Ryan. I'm here with John and Evan. We're going to knock your socks off with some amazing discussion of Nashville SC, or probably not with any discussion of Nashville SC. Guys, how are you doing this evening?
Fantastic, Ryan. How about you?
Oh, I'm just swell. I could be better, but I'm not as bad as I could be either. So I guess that's good.
Yeah, I'm doing better than I was on Saturday night, that's for sure.
No kidding. We'll talk about that, I guess, if you twist my arm. But let's talk about something way more interesting and fun. What beers are you drinking this evening? Evan, what are you having?
Well, I'm kind of keeping it classic tonight. I'm having the Dos Perros from Yazoo. It's a brown ale, of course, and it's got that bready malt aroma, nice maize sweetness. It's really more drying than sweet, though. It's just a really good, balanced beer that's wonderfully drinkable. And like I said, it's just a stone cold Nashville classic.
That it is. Well done. And how about yourself, John? What are you having this night?
I am having a Pedro Fresco Mexican lager from Half Batch Brewing in Hendersonville, Tennessee. It is a fantastic Mexican lager. It has everything that you ask for in a Mexican beer. And Pedro Fresco, I do believe, means fresh Peter in Spanish.
Okay.
So
do with that what you will.
Make of that what you will. Yep.
Yeah.
It's light in color and body, but has enough flavor to stand up to your favorite tacos. And Cinco de Mayo is right around the corner. You can choose your own adventure with or without a lime on this one. And I'm actually drinking without a lime tonight, but maybe in a week or two time, I might drink it with a lime.
Are you guys typically fruit in your beer kind of guys, or no?
I love a Blue Moon with an orange in it, as long as it's from the tap.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't really want to drink a Blue Moon from the store, but a Blue Moon from the tap hits perfectly sometimes. And then a lime in a Mexican beer obviously makes a great amount of difference.
Yeah, but you got to do it right.
Yeah.
I've seen so many amateurs plug that lime in, try and hold it down with their thumb or whatever, and then it explodes everywhere. You've got to tilt it upside down. You've really got to hold that thumb over the opening, completely seal the opening of the beer, or else you're going to spray everybody, and you got to outlast the pressure, and then you can eventually let go. But it takes some talent, some skill, some practice to get it right.
We're really all about education at Electric Gold.
Especially when it comes to drinking beer. Evan, are you a fruit in your beer kind of guy?
I mean, I'm not going to refuse it if it's passed to me, but I will say I have recently discovered the joy and the magic of at least one good slice of jalapeno in your margarita. Have you guys tried this? Oh my gosh, this is something to behold.
It's opened up a whole new world for you, huh?
It really has. My world was pretty small.
I'm always open to a good twist on a margarita. Maybe my second favorite beverage next to beer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't need any fruit in my beer this evening because I am drinking New Realm Brewing Company's Psychedelic Rabbit. New Realm is a brewing company out of Atlanta, Georgia, founded in 2016. This particular beer is a tropical IPA. The ingredient list is a bit crazy. So this is what they list on it: Cashmere, Mosaic, Azaka, and Citra hops. What is that? I don't know. But it provides an atomic burst of passion fruit, pineapple, and tangerine juiciness. You can taste all those flavors in this beer, and it's got a lot of allusions to Alice in Wonderland. Take a trip down the rabbit hole, have a psychedelic rabbit. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So there you go.
Makes sense.
Nice.
Let's get this podcast started, guys. Cheers to you.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Okay, I guess if we have to, we'll do a little bit of a week in review. This past weekend saw Nashville SC travel all the way to the West Coast to face off against the Seattle Sounders, and the less said about this game, the better. And that's the week in review. I mean, come on. What do you want me to say? They scored 3 times. We looked like shit.
Yeah.
We really miss Walker Zimmerman. The defense was lackluster. The midfield was more lackluster. They reverted to 2024 Nashville. And we still got work to do, guys, when it comes down to it. We're still a team in transition. This is going to be a process. And we saw the ugly side of that process this past Saturday. Do you guys have any other thoughts or commentary on what you saw?
Yeah, I do. Despite my optimism before the game, I guess it was always going to be a tall task traveling to one of the league's best clubs year in and year out and get a good result. But, I think I'm more disappointed in the dropped points that we have experienced at home that could have maybe covered some of these points here. I'm, thinking specifically of New England, where we drew when we should have won, and, Cincinnati, where we lost when we should have. Obviously, we wanted to win, but we should have at least eked out a tie there too. So that's a minimum of 3 points or something that we should have gotten, and as many as 6, of course. So, had we played better in one or both of those games, then it really wouldn't matter too much, would it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we have seen this team maybe play to the level of its competition or play down to the level of whoever they're playing. I don't know. They've certainly left points on the board when they hosted Cincinnati. And they also, I think, when they hosted New England, like you said, that was an early in the season draw. I also thought that they should have fared better against Charlotte. Of course, Zimmerman's injury, I think, really turned the tide of that game. There's definitely been opportunities lost in this season. But all things considered, I think Nashville sits probably better than what most people expected them to. They're still 6th place in the East right now.
Yeah, and weren't we 6th going into the match?
That's right. We didn't lose any spots. So all things considered, it's not doomsday or anything like that. There's a long, long piece of the season ahead of us. There's a lot of time to make up ground. And I mean, if we're still holding in that 5 to 8 position, I think that should be very happy with that. If you'd told any of us at the beginning of this season, John, hey, Nashville's going to finish somewhere between 5th and 8th place, how would you have felt about that?
I'd have bit your hand off.
Just joy or like anger?
Joy.
Oh,
literally, I have a file of the predictions of MLS so-called experts at the start of the year, and I'm gonna wait till the end of the year to see whether they were right or not. But so far, they're wrong because we're 6th place, and I didn't see anybody pick us even, I think, above 8th or 9th, but most people had us 12th or 13th in the East. So, yeah, we're ahead of expectations, but just generally fuck that game, the Seattle game.
Yeah.
It had me feeling like it was Brat Summer. It had me feeling like the Taylor Swift Eras tour was going on.
Oh, right.
It had me feeling like Wicked was coming out. It had me feeling like there was a beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Sure.
The Paris Olympics were starting off, and Chaperone, I mean, she was just waiting in the wings because it was 2024 all over again. That was a 2024 game.
We were partying like it was 2024.
It sucked. And I drank a lot, and I have forgotten everything about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way to handle
It's the healthiest way to do
game.
it. We have to move on, because sometimes in MLS, You just suck butt for 90 minutes, and that's what we did Saturday.
Just put it behind you. You know, one stat that I did see Nashville SC Stats post on Twitter, which was that in the past 3 games that Nashville's played on the West Coast, they have scored exactly 1 goal and they have allowed 12. I think this team really suffers from jet lag in a major, major way. I don't think we can overlook that. We've seen this phenomenon in other sports, baseball, basketball, football over the years. When teams have to cover 2-3 time zones and then play, it really does have an effect on them.
It does. And we can joke about it like, oh, you know, jet lag or whatever. But for real, it's a thing. Because, like, if you look at Europe in the Champions League, teams fly over these great teams from England, Manchester City or whatnot. When they have to go to like Turkey or Ukraine or whatever, Poland, they suffer because it really does affect you. And MLS is the only domestic league where this is a thing where sometimes you have to fly to 3,000 miles and then you have to fly back and play at home the next week.
Right.
It's not easy.
You're exactly right. These other leagues, most of them take place in the same time zone across the entire league. They don't have to cover the sort of ground that the teams in the MLS do. John, do you think that this team is cursed?
I think that they are.
Tell us why.
For one, the West Coast thing, like we're really suffering on the West Coast. I think that the best thing that we can possibly do as Nashville SC fans right now is just bow our heads and pray for the big one.
I mean, who's going to miss it anyway?
Yeah, who needs the West Coast? No, I'm joking. I don't want anyone to suffer. I wish we weren't playing on the West Coast. There are 30 teams in MLS right now, and I really feel like if we can get this number to 36 to 40, maybe we wouldn't ever have to play on the West Coast again. Maybe it would just split into like MLS East and MLS West, and you just play like within your purveyance, and that'd be nice. But I think we are cursed. I feel like a curse is in the air.
Now, we were fighting the curse of cash for so long. Last year when we didn't play the Cash song at the beginning of the games, that definitely cursed the team, and we had to suffer the consequences of that. But we lifted that curse. We've started playing the song at the beginning of home games again, and I think that we have exorcised those demons. But you think that there's more coming?
I do. The curses are real in sports.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I would like to start tonight's podcast by talking about the news of the day. So we're recording this on Monday, April the 21st. And we have to acknowledge that this morning, unfortunately, Pope Francis passed away in the Catholic Church. And I discovered an incredible curse involving a soccer team and popes. Have you guys ever heard of an Italian soccer team called Avellino?
I have not.
I don't believe so.
So Avellino they've been around for a long time, and they've spent their entirety of their existence mostly in the lower leagues in Italy. So here is a stunning thing that I discovered about Avellino. Since 1958, every time that Avellino is promoted a division, whether it's from the third to the second, the fourth to the third, the second to the first, every single time a pope dies.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
And this has happened 7 different times since 1958.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
And on yesterday, on April 20th, on Sunday, guess who got promoted to Serie B, the second division in Italy?
No way.
Really?
Get out.
Avellino. And the next day, a pope dies.
Oh my God.
And what's even crazier, there's only one time in all of that time that they got promoted to Serie A, the top flight in Italy. And it was sometime in the 70s. Guess how many popes died that year?
More than one?
3 popes died in the same year. They got promoted.
Oh gosh.
Poor Avellino. And what's crazy is that Pope Francis, like a few years ago, actually traveled to Avellino and had like a get together, and he held up a soccer jersey. I mean, obviously he was talking to God, saying, "Please, God, do not let Avellino get promoted."
Wow.
But they did, and unfortunately, the world is a lesser place today because Avellino got promoted. So luckily,
God said TLDR. Right?
Luckily, I don't think Nashville is cursed to the extent that Avellino is.
Yeah, thank goodness.
But curses are real. Curses are real, y'all. Because, you think about all the curses. There's curses in American sports involving old Babe Ruth.
Right.
Black cats.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. And they are real, and they affect our lives in an everyday form. We just have to admit that these things are real and learn to live with them.
Well, the black cat crossed our path a few weeks ago.
That's right.
Caused us to lose that game. Was it the Cincinnati game? Was that the one that we went? Yeah. And we absolutely deserved to win that one. And a black cat crossed our paths on the way to the game, walking from the car to the stadium. It came out of nowhere, crossed our path, and we lost the game. And we even mentioned it at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, so Nashville is absolutely susceptible to curses. We saw it with the Curse of Cash last year. We called that one early on. He was even visiting you at night in your dreams or whatever.
That's truth. Yeah.
What do you think, Evan? Are you a believer?
I am now. I mean, before this Avellino thing, I'd heard about the broken mirror. What if you break a mirror? It's like 7 years of bad luck or something. But I absolutely believe this.
Yeah. Do you think Randall Leal broke a mirror or two in his day, and maybe that's why he couldn't get on the field ever?
Gosh, he must have.
He must have sat on every single mirror in Nashville.
All right. Well, we will be on the lookout then for potential curses this season, John and Evan. If you guys see any signs of this, please point them out. We want to make sure that we make our listeners aware and keep everybody on guard.
Thank you.
In the meantime, let's try and find whatever positive spin we can on this past weekend. Let's do a little, oh, hell yeah. Evan, we'll start with you. What's your hell yeah moment?
Okay, yeah. Mine is that we announced this draw against the Chattanooga Red Wolves in the U.S. Open Cup round of 32. May 6th, we're back in the U.S. Open Cup. We're playing another Tennessee team, and that's exactly what I wanted. And so as soon as that announcement came out, I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I think I said something about this in our group chat, and John mentioned that there was some real subtext, or what we like to call John text. So, John, would you like to take this opportunity to inform me of what that John text is?
Yeah, absolutely. Chattanooga Red Wolves, we have to beat this team, and I'll tell you why. I have a firm belief that Chattanooga Red Wolves are the perfect example of why capitalism is the reason American soccer will never take off.
Oh, okay.
Chattanooga Red Wolves are a team that should not exist. If you know anything about Chattanooga soccer, you will know that Chattanooga is not that big a city, right?
Right.
It's what, a few 100,000 people?
It's barely bigger than Murfreesboro, I think.
How many pro soccer teams do you think Chattanooga, Tennessee has?
Well, they've got that one. So, one.
Which is a bit of a surprise.
They've got two.
Okay. All right.
And this is the stupidest thing that I can think of in the entire world. Because the first professional soccer team in Chattanooga was called Chattanooga FC.
Mm-hmm.
Chattanooga FC was formed in 2009. And from what I understand, they're basically a fan-founded and owned team. Just like Nashville FC was.
Right.
Nashville FC was the fan-founded team in 2013 that sprang from a blank state in Nashville soccer. And here's where the difference comes between Nashville and Chattanooga. At some point, Nashville FC fans / owners were approached by Nashville businessmen that wanted to buy into the USL, the second division in America. And the fans / owners voted overwhelmingly to sell the team to these investors to become a professional soccer team, because we are a big city and we need a professional soccer team here.
Sure.
Chattanooga FC were approached with a similar deal with a very rich man. Oh, gosh. I'm trying to remember his name right now. Sometime around 2018. Anyway, Chattanooga FC fans were approached with the same kind of deal, where a very rich man was wanting to buy his way into USL. Chattanooga FC, their games are like what you expect soccer games. They have flares. They have, fans that are really into the game. Surprisingly, they have a really great amount of real soccer fans in Chattanooga. Mm-hmm. And so a businessman saw this potential and wanted to cash in on it. And Chattanooga FC fans / owners voted no. Fuck you, dude. We're not selling to you.
Wow.
Said dude said, fuck you. I want to have a professional soccer team anyway. Paid money into the USL to start a club called Chattanooga Red Wolves. And they play in the USL First Division, which is the kind of the third division in America. They're professional level. They are a professional soccer team.
Yeah.
No one is a fan of Chattanooga Red Wolves. No one on earth. I swear to you that if anybody listening onto this podcast can prove to me that anybody is a Chattanooga Red Wolves fan, I'll buy you a beer. That's what I'll do, because no one is a fan. No one cares about this team. This team has existed for 6 years now. No one cares. It only exists because a billionaire wanted to have a place in the USL, and he bought it. So Chattanooga has 2 professional soccer teams because Chattanooga FC continued to exist.
Yeah.
Despite voting this guy down. They joined the NISA at first and became a professional level team. They lasted a few years in that league. That league is mostly a money laundering scheme. So eventually they found their way into the MLS Next Pro, where they are one of 2 independent teams in that league. They play our second division club, Huntsville. They play, all the second teams of all the MLS teams. That's what Chattanooga FC. They still exist. They play at Finley Stadium, a former minor league baseball park in Chattanooga, and they have a fun time. If you go to Chattanooga FC game, you're going to have fun. It's going to be like a real soccer game. If you go to Chattanooga Red Wolves game, you're going to sit there with about 200 children's soccer clubs that got
free tickets.
Free tickets.
Yeah.
No one is a fan of this team. They shouldn't exist.
It's just a capitalist fabrication.
It's a capitalist fabrication.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the 2 Chattanooga teams played each other a few rounds ago in the U.S. Open Cup, and Red Wolves happened to win the game.
Of course.
And so they're still alive.
Yeah.
And we're about to play them.
Yeah.
And if we don't cream them, I'm going to be so pissed off.
Well, money always wins, John. That's the lesson here.
I guess so. I guess it's money always wins, and we're always screwed. And hot damn hallelujah.
Yeah. The businessman who you're searching for the name of is Robert Martino. He's a real estate developer, owns a construction company. Not only does he own the Chattanooga Red Wolves, which he founded in 2018. He also is the owner of the Park City Red Wolves, which is based in Salt Lake City, and the Dalton Red Wolves, which are, I guess, in Dalton, Georgia, in Dalton, Georgia.
I think he likes that name.
Yeah. Both of those teams are in the USL League too. So he's definitely spreading the Red Wolves love all over the country. There's even a Chattanooga Lady Red Wolves.
Yes, I do know that. They did have a women's team in the USL Super League, which is kind of the second division of women's soccer in the United States. And he gets to own that because he bought his way into USL.
Right.
Good for him. La dee da. Nobody gives a fuck about your teams, bro.
Love it. Well, thank you, Evan, for that. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're welcome, I think.
John, now it's your turn, I guess. Like, it feels like it's been your turn for the last 20 minutes.
It feels like it's been my turn the whole podcast. But no,
someone's angry. Someone's a little angry about this past weekend and just letting it out.
I'm not happy. All right, I'm gonna give you oh hell yeah, and it's 2 words. Chris Applewhite.
I was hoping you'd bring him up. Yeah.
17 years old, made his first appearance in MLS for Nashville SC. Looked damn good.
Yeah.
And he came on. We were 3-0 down already. So how much difference is a center back going to make at this point? But he looked like he knew what he was doing. And this is a success story for Nashville SC. He is our 3rd homegrown player signing. He is the 2nd ever player from our academy to make an appearance for the senior team after Isaiah Jones.
Right.
And he is the 2nd of our homegrown players to make an appearance also after Isaiah Jones. He is also the youngest player to ever play for Nashville SC. He was an MLS Next Pro All-Star last season playing for Huntsville City. And simply put, this is the kind of thing that we need to be doing all the time.
Yes.
We're not going to last long if we don't have continuous players coming from our academy, from our MLS Next Pro team in Huntsville, coming through and making it for us, because there's lots of MLS teams that are of cities the same size as us. I think FC Dallas, Philadelphia Union has done a great job. A lot of these teams have made a living basically promoting players from their academies. And that's really what we need to be doing. I mean, it's more cost effective. And really, as fans, I love seeing local players flourish.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I can't wait to cheer for this guy at a home game. I hope we get to see more of Isaiah Jones. I hope we get to see Adam Sipich in the future. And I hope we get more players coming through the pipeline. This is really the best thing about being an MLS team, is that we get to have this academy, we get to have this pipeline, and we get to create this future for ourselves.
Yeah. Chris Applewhite, very much a success story.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. I love seeing you play.
For sure. This is so exciting. And it's one thing to sign a player and bring them here from somewhere else and to get behind them. But there is nothing like promoting a player from within your system. They're one of your boys, you know. It's almost like your own child, and you really get behind them and support them in a way that's so much closer, so much, I don't know, you're more invested in that sort of player versus someone that you're just signing from another team somewhere. It's exciting stuff. Well, you got a lot to choose from for the next category, which is our oh, hell no. So, John, go ahead. What are you picking for oh, hell no this evening?
Boy, take your choice. I'm going to say soft turnovers in midfield. Boy, we had so many giveaways in midfield in that game. I looked back. I honestly tried to delete the entire game from my memory as soon as it happened.
Yes.
But in preparation for this podcast, I did look back at the highlights, if you want to call them that. Both of the first 2 goals started with extremely soft turnovers in midfield. The first one came, Hani Mukhtar gave over a very soft turnover. The dominoes fell from there. And on the second goal, he gave a really, really soft turnover. And when you give it away, like just so softly in midfield. It's like you're just automatically giving almost like a power play in hockey to the other team, because automatically they had like a 6-on-5 against us. And there were still mistakes to be pointed out, obviously, in the defense and even in the goalkeeping area. But like, you can't just fall down and give it away in midfield. And it felt like we did that a lot in this game. Even the ones that we didn't end up giving goals away on, there was just some soft play by our attacking players. And it had me saying, oh, hell no, fight harder, guys.
Yeah.
Keep that fucking ball.
They're all out there singing Red Hot Chili Peppers, giving it away.
Yes.
I don't even understand. And I was so encouraged the first 10 or 15 minutes. I was like, oh, we're getting the good Cossum tonight. You know, he was engaged. He was playing hard. And then he just sucked ass for the rest of the game. And that giveaway was just egregious. I was so excited about him to start the season. And every time I see him, more and more, just getting more and more disappointed each time. It's really frustrating because we know the guy is better than this, but he's not playing hard. That's my assessment. That's what I see. Evan, oh, hell no. You got anything?
I got something, man. This was on Coach Callahan. I just do not understand why he sat Tagseth to start the game. We all know that one of Eddie's many valuable contributions to the team is his ability to break up counterattacks. When we lose the ball, especially these little soft turnovers in midfield, time and time again, Eddie is disrupting that. He's breaking it up and he's preventing that turnover from turning into a goal. And so I think if he starts the game, I think it's a totally different result. Now, I asked this. I said, what's the deal? Why is Eddie starting on the bench? John, you speculated that maybe coach was trying to prevent him from accumulating a suspension due to yellow cards. And if that is the case, then why play him at all? Why bring him in at halftime when the damage is already done? So, if that was the case, then I think he screwed up a second time by putting him in the match. But, I just don't understand it. There's no midweek game to rest him for. He's young. He has so much energy. It's still the first half of the season. Again, it makes no sense to me. And I really do think that Eddie playing from the start of the match changes that game completely. Now, maybe we still lose the match, but it's not a 3-0 blowout like it was. But I was giving coach the benefit of the doubt, but subconsciously, when I saw Eddie starting on the bench, I was just like, oh, hell no, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I totally agree with your assessment that the game is way different if Tagseth's involved from the beginning. My guess was that we've put a lot of miles on those wheels so far this season. I think he's run over 70 or 80 miles, something ridiculous so far. And I think that coach maybe just wanted to give him a little bit of a break. I think maybe also he's a bit curious what it might look like to have Brugman and Yazbek together in the midfield, and maybe wanted to see if there was chemistry there. There was not. It was awful. It looked really crappy. Each one of those guys has individually been great. I've been really encouraged by all three, Brugman, Yazbek, Tagseth, but Brugman and Yazbek together just did not do it for me. I think it's Tagseth and someone else is the matchup that you want. That's the lineup that you want is Tagseth and X.
And you very well could be right. And if you are right, then I'm going to criticize the coach for that. I think soccer coaches, especially in the modern era, terrible tendency to overthink things. Okay. Sometimes you just have to do something as simple as playing your best players and playing to win. Okay. Eddie, by this point in the season, has become so valuable, so invaluable to the team, to the performance on the field, that he's now part of the chemistry. He's part of the team confidence. And I think, he's that good.
Mm-hmm.
I think you pull him out and it's not just a plug and play. It's not just a tinkering where you can maybe add something to try to compensate. It's an intangible thing that you're losing there. So anyway, yeah, if you're right, I still think that is a mistake. Don't mess with a good thing.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, guys. Well, now it's time to move on. We've picked out the best. We've picked out the worst. But now I want you to get real spicy. And there's plenty to work off of here, I'm sure. But I'd love to hear some of your hottest takes coming out of this game and going into next week. It's time for Nashville Hot Chicken Takes.
My hot chicken take is that these owners got skills to shake, entertain the crowd and get on the field. 'Cause why the fuck not?
John, we'll start with you this week. What do you got for us?
We got something spicy for y'all. Without Eddie Tagseth and a healthy Walker Zimmerman, we are exactly the same team as we were last year.
Ooh.
At the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
You remember at the end of last year, we actually started scoring goals once B.J. Callahan took over, but we kept giving away a lot of goals.
Yeah.
I think that the main difference, the main feelings that we have that this is Nashville 2.0 or whatever is entirely due to Walker Zimmerman is being healthy at the start of the year and Eddie Tagseth, because otherwise there's not really that big a difference. We still are just so soft in many areas of the field, particularly in midfield. Like, okay, Brugman, I think, is an improvement over, what we had in midfield last year. But I don't see any power with him and Yazbek. They both play nice passes. They both do the nice things here and there, but there's no, taking control of the game that there is with Eddie Tagseth. Eddie Tagseth makes the game his. He owns the game, and you have to pay him for rent,
Mm-hmm.
I finally figured out who Tagseth reminds me the most of. It's N'Golo Kante. Do you guys know N'Golo Kante? He was on the Leicester City team that won the Premier League in 2016 against all fucking odds. Possibly the biggest, craziest result in the history of the game of soccer was that Leicester City won the Premier League in 2016, and it was entirely down to N'Golo Kante. He was the midfielder that was just everywhere. Everywhere on the field was N'Golo Kante.
Mm-hmm.
He made the ball his. He owned it. And he played so well that the next year he got a raise. Chelsea bought him. And guess who won the Premier League in 2017? It was Chelsea with N'Golo Kante. And guess who won the World Cup in 2018? It was France with N'Golo Kante.
Sure.
He didn't score the goals. He didn't have the assist. There's just a dude that takes control of the field and midfield. And unless you're watching the games, you don't know who's running the game. Back then, that was N'Golo Kante. And right now, it's Eddie Tagseth for Nashville SC. He is running the fucking game. And without him, I don't think we're that good a team. If he's not playing, I don't think we're a playoff team. And so just bottom line, my hot take, Eddie Tagseth should not ever be on the bench unless he's suspended.
Yeah.
He's a real difference maker, no doubt.
If I can shout one thing into BJ's brain, is just unless the league says you can't play him, play Eddie Tagseth.
Wow. I hear you. Evan, you got a spicy hot take for us tonight?
I got a hot take. I don't know how spicy it is. I don't know if I'm going to burn you up with it, given some of my criticisms over the last 2 weeks. But here it is. Ahmed Qasim has now become a liability to this team. Now, I don't know that this is going to be long term. I actually started to think about why this might be, and I'm wondering if he's just now starting to experience some of that homesickness, some of that difficult safety, adjusting to life in a new league, in a new country, and all that sort of thing. I'm going to hope that's all that is. That tends to happen to players when they come over here. It usually takes them about a year, to get really good and settled and adjusted. He started strong, but there's an excitement. There's a burning desire to prove yourself and everything. But, I just can't help but wonder if he's struggling off the field and that's causing him to become a liability on the field. And man, I sure hope it does not last very long.
If that's the case, I don't have any sympathy for him. You're a grown man and you're getting paid a lot of money. Do your job. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be cold-blooded or whatever, but the dude makes a lot more than any one of us does. And get over your sniffles and get out there and play like you care about it. I cannot feel any empathy for someone who is homesick when they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to play a game for a living. Yeah. Give me a break.
I will say this. I think as much as any, off the field conjecture we might have, I think MLS is a tougher physical league than most people think it is. As far as the quality on the field, like the passing, the shooting, we don't compete with the European leagues. But the physicality of MLS is really, I think, underestimated. Like, I think it's an adjustment for players coming from maybe a middle of Europe type level league like Sweden. I haven't watched that much Swedish league. I'm going to be honest with you. I know, it's crazy.
I don't believe it.
I think a lot of these leagues are very technical. Like, I guarantee those players can pass and shoot and do the technical skills well. But I think the physicality of MLS, I think these guys come over maybe thinking they're going to dominate the league. And then there's a rude awakening phase where this is a tough league. And honestly, we haven't hit the tough part of it yet, because the really tough part of MLS is the fact that we play half of our season in 95 fucking degree weather.
Yeah,
right.
And that does not happen in Sweden. And I really hope that they're working on the conditioning with him a lot and making it apparent that he's going to have to put his big boy pants on and start playing hard if he's going to make it in this league.
Yeah, to that point, I hope they're working on that conditioning with Tagseth as well, because it's one thing to run eight miles in a game in March. It's another thing to run 8 miles in July.
Yeah.
He's probably going to have to take that sub a lot more frequently than he has in the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
Well, I've been looking forward to this, guys. We've been asking our listeners for the past few weeks to send in their ah hell yes, their ah hell no's, their hot chicken takes. We want to hear from the masses. We want to give voice to the voiceless. And so I'm incredibly excited to open up the mailbag, the Electric Gold mailbag, and hear from our listeners. John, you've compiled the best.
I have. Yeah.
You're going to field some of their questions and comments now, right?
I'll state them and then we can all answer them, as needed.
Sure.
We've got one from Marissa. Marissa says that the designated players need to step the fuck up, basically. Somebody needs to be the leader. She actually had the quote, Sam Surge is dead weight.
Marissa
That's
just won hot chicken takes tonight.
She did, didn't she?
She did, and she's got a lot more than that I'm not quoting right now, but she laid into the team. Marissa is not happy.
Yeah.
And what do we think about that, guys?
I think she's right.
Yeah, and I applaud that passion, because I think I said this several episodes ago, is that Nashville 2.0, there has to be a higher expectation from everyone from the top down. We have to expect more from this team. Ties at home, losses on the road just aren't acceptable to me anymore. And it sounds like not to her either. And I applaud her for that.
Yeah, I love it.
You were saying, John, that there's not much difference between last year and this year other than like Tagseth and a healthy Zimmerman. But I disagree. I think that the midfield is actually much improved over. I mean, let's not forget the Sean Davis, Brian Anunga shit combo that we were dealing with. And it just was just brutal to watch. And we have really elevated beyond that. To me, the big problem this season, there's two. I think the goalkeeping has been substandard, and our forwards have just been not effective.
Yeah.
Suraj, half the time, I don't know what position he's playing. Mukhtar, it pains me because we all have so much love for Hani. But if I see him fall over when the wind blows one more time, I'm just going to tear my hair out. I can't stand it.
How many shots did we have Saturday night that were basically just back passes to Stephen Fry?
No kidding. Not
yeah, right.
The finishing blows. We're kicking it right to the goalie. We're not kicking with any kind of force or purpose or intensity. And it's not just this past game. I know we have some recency bias when we review games and when we do our podcasts. We certainly are emotional with our commentary. But this has been an ongoing problem, not for just a couple of weeks, not for just a couple of months, not just for this season, but for 2 fucking years. This has been the issue, is that our finishing blows ass. And these guys got to get together or we got to look elsewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hell yeah, right, Marissa.
I love that take, Marissa. We're going to move on to the next hot chicken take. This one is a positive one. We're going to go with Luke. Luke said his prediction for the season is that we show steady improvement and we end up in the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. That Walker Zimmerman returns right before the start of the playoffs and we win MLS Cup beating LAFC, and the cameras are going to cut to Kendall Jenner crying in the owner's box seat. What do we think about that take?
Love that take, Luke.
Yeah. This sounds really familiar. I feel like at the beginning of the season, I know one of you guys predicted a 4 seed.
Yeah.
I think that was me.
Yeah.
I think that was me.
Yeah. And I'm sure that you predicted that we would win it all.
Oh, gosh.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. So Luke's right there with us. And let's make all the members of the Kardashians cry.
That should be our only goal.
Yeah.
Is to make all Kardashians cry.
Yeah. Love it.
I will say for that one, if Walker Zimmerman's only showing up right before the playoffs, I have a tough time believing we're going to be a 4th seed.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't know. Well, let's
stranger things have happened, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's a third take. This is from our listener, Raymond. And this has to do with Evan's trip to Charlotte a few weeks ago and how lovey-dovey he was about the Charlotte fans and that they treated him so well. He said that he went to a game at Columbus, I don't know exactly when, and those motherfuckers were the nastiest dudes in the world. They treated him like shit, and they made him know about it. And so I don't know if it's just saying something about how shitty the people in Ohio are.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I was like, duh, it's Ohio. What did you expect?
I'm sorry that happened to you, Raymond.
Sorry, Raymond, but I think you shouldn't set foot in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
Unless you're forced to.
We've said it on this podcast before. It's just a terrible land. And yeah, what did you expect? I mean, I am not shocked or surprised by this at all. And I would not judge other MLS towns.
Yeah.
Or fan groups by what you might experience from Ohio. And so it's just two totally different worlds.
Yeah, the term flyover country, that's not a description. That is a strong recommendation. Okay.
Oh, man, I love it. All right. So
can we do this every week?
Yeah, I like this.
Yes.
All right. Our last one is from Gabe.
Okay.
Gabe says, you guys write and produce more music for this podcast than most professional musicians put out. Who is responsible for this? Who wants to answer, Gabe?
You guys are both sort of like co-producers, so I'll let you guys take it.
Sure. Well, Gabe, we actually consult with a 53-member orchestra that composes and produces the music for this podcast. They are called just the Electric Gold Orchestra. They are amazing. They are led by a Czechoslovakian composer named Václav Havel. And we talk to him every week. We work very closely with him. And that's who produces the music that you hear on this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, we give notes.
Yeah.
You know, we've assembled a great group of talented musicians, and they execute our vision.
They do a tremendous job of producing what we ask them to do, but I will say that these ideas come from this mysterious muse. Famously, Tom Petty's song Wildflowers, one of the greatest songs of all time, came to him in just one go. He sat down with his acoustic guitar and it just came out. So when the great Tom Petty passed, I think maybe the muse decided to start sending those beautiful, sweet sounds through us.
I mean, who else?
That's exactly what happened. I believe that's 100% what happened.
Yeah. I mean, of all of the talented, creative people in this world, of course, it's going to pick us.
He picked three goobers who do a Nashville SC podcast.
Exactly. Oh, is that all of it?
Well, there's a part 2 of Gabe's.
Oh, okay. Two-parter.
This is a very important question.
Mm-hmm.
For real, what's with the Byzantine history?
Okay, so I'll take this one because I'm the one who's guilty of this. I know where you're going with this. I totally get it, Gabe. It is so obvious and so cliche to always be picking out historical references to the Byzantine Empire when there's so much more rich history that I could allude to when talking about Nashville SC. And yet I always go for the most obvious, the lowest hanging fruit, the most cliche. And I apologize. I've really got to diversify my allegories. I mean, I could absolutely refer to a group like the Songhai Empire from West Africa in the 15th and 16th century. They were one of the largest and wealthiest empires in African history. They controlled the trans-Saharan trade routes, and that was a hub of Islamic scholarship and commerce. They even had organized bureaucracy and a powerful army. And then just as quickly as they rose up, they were taken down by a Moroccan invasion armed with early firearms. I could absolutely make reference to the Aksumite Empire that's located where modern day Ethiopia is, back all the way from 100 AD to 940. It was a Christian empire, a major trading nation in the ancient world, dealt with the Romans, India, even China. They minted their own coins, developed a unique written script, and they were linked to the legend of the Ark of the Covenant. And they built massive stone obelisks that still baffle architects to this day. Or I could go even more eastern, go and reference the Khazar Khaganate. The Khazars built a prosperous empire, and they adopted Judaism as their state religion. They acted as a buffer between the Muslim caliphates and the Christian Byzantines. There's my boys again, playing both sides like champs. Their mysterious disappearance still fuels conspiracy theories. Of course, another one that I could refer to that maybe isn't quite as obvious, the Sogdian city-states of Central Asia, all the way from 500 BC to 1000 AD. More of a loose confederation than an actual single empire. They were master merchants along the Silk Road. They spread ideas and religion and languages between Persia, China, India, so on. Their culture even influenced early Chinese Buddhism. Or I could bring it over here to the Western Hemisphere and talk about the Tarascans. Often overshadowed by the Aztecs, the Tarascans were Aztec-proof. They had bronze weapons and military tactics that kept the Aztecs at bay. They had engineering skills and even metallurgy that were incredibly advanced for Mesoamerica. Of course, a lot of people might say, well, hey, what about the Hittites, the rivals to ancient Egypt? They helped develop early ironworking, one of the first major empires to form treaties, like famous one with Ramses II after the Battle of Kadesh. We all remember that. Their rediscovery in the 20th century completely changed our view of the Bronze Age. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't also incorporate at some point in our future podcast talking about the kingdom of Silla. Silla unified most of the Korean peninsula, created a golden age of art and science and Buddhism, a bone rank system for aristocracy, incredible gold craftsmanship, and a navy that could compete even with China. You're absolutely right, Gabe, to call me out on this. I apologize for always just going back with the same old Byzantine, Roman history, the stuff that everybody knows. And again, just the most obvious metaphors for our Nashville SC team. I promise that I will incorporate a more diverse array of historical allegories going on in the future. So apologize for that, Gabe. Thank you for the call out, and we'll do better next time.
Thank you, Ryan. We appreciate that.
Okay. Well, that is incredibly fun. And I want to do more mailbags in the future, especially if we're going to be losing 3-0.
Yeah. we need all the mailbags we can get.
For now, let's wrap all this up. Let's do a week in preview. Coming up this weekend, Nashville will return home to Geodis Park and look to rebound from their embarrassing loss against Seattle when they host the Chicago Fire. Chicago has been a bit of a surprise this season. So far, they sit in 8th place in the East with a record of 3 wins, 3 losses, and 3 draws, and a goal differential of +1. However, Chicago's last win came all the way back on March 22nd against Vancouver. Since then, they've drawn versus Montreal and Miami, and they've lost to the Red Bulls and then to FC Cincinnati most recently. They are led by Golden Boot contender Hugo Kuipers. He's a Belgian forward who has already gotten 6 goals to his name this season. Meanwhile, NSC sits in 6th place in the East, though they have obviously struggled to defend while missing Captain Walker Zimmerman, who has been working through a recent head injury sustained in the loss against Charlotte earlier this month. This upcoming match will also provide a face-off between BJ Callahan and his former U.S. men's national team boss, Greg Berhalter, who is head coach for the Chicago side. And guys, as we look ahead to the Chicago game, I'd like for you to break out your crystal ball. Evan, we'll start with you. What do you see in the crystal ball coming up this weekend?
Yeah, okay. So I'm gazing into it, and I am seeing that Coach Callahan learns his lesson from this past game, doesn't overthink things, just plays his best 11 available players. We bounce back. We win the match 2-1, but I have absolutely no idea who scores the goals because every time I try to predict, it goes so sideways. I predict the forwards are going to score and the defenders score. I predict that the midfielders are going to score the goals and nobody scores any goals. So I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to tell you it's a 2-1 victory at home.
I think you've got an older model of crystal ball. It does a good job of projecting wins and losses, but not so much the actual goal scorers.
It must be.
You need a software update on that one. Okay, John, what's your crystal ball say?
Crystal Ball 2.0. How does the game go? All right, Crystal Ball, I have consulted with you, and here is how the game is going to go. We play Chicago. Simply put, if we don't beat Chicago at home, we should fold. Fold the team. Move us to Little Rock, Arkansas.
Terrible.
We'll become the Little Rock Red Wolves or something.
Little Rock Red Wolves. So here's the deal. We talked about curses earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to reveal the strongest curse of them all. And y'all are not going to like me for this at all.
Okay.
The curse that the team is operating under the worst is the curse of John, namely me.
Oh, right.
I attended the 2023 Leagues Cup semifinal against Monterrey, where we won 2-0. It was one of the greatest nights of my life. We beat a fantastic Mexican team and advanced to the final that we would eventually lose to Inter Miami on penalties. Since that night, John, yours truly, has attended 17 games at Geodis Park. Anyone want to guess how many games we've won out of those 17?
Gosh.
3, 4.
4.
God, I wish. Out of those 17 games, we have tied 10.
Uh-huh.
We have lost 6.
Oh.
We have won
God.
1. I have seen 1 win in person in a year and a half.
Wow.
Jeez.
It was against New York City last June, and that was it.
Dude.
Am I the curse?
I think you are.
I think you might be.
It might be because there are 3 games that we played at home this year that I haven't been able to attend, and we won all 3 of them.
Mhm.
There have been 2 home games that I have been able to attend, and we didn't win either of them.
Wow.
So, guys, I really am planning on attending the game against Chicago on Saturday. I really want to go, and I really, really, really want God to tell me if I need to go or not. Because if I go and we don't beat Chicago Fire, that might be it for John, y'all.
Oh, don't say that.
He believes in curses, Ryan.
Here's another thing. Here's another thing I want to tell you about Chicago Fire is that twice. So I think Hani Mukhtar has 3 hat tricks in MLS for Nashville SC.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was against St. Louis City, and I was in attendance for that one. And 2 were against Chicago Fire, and I wasn't in attendance for either of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this game because I was like, by God, if Hani Mukhtar gets a 3rd hat trick against Chicago and I'm not there, once again, that's it for John. Call
John,
it.
hey, you know what? I don't think it's you attending the game.
Yeah.
I seem to remember that Monterey match was the first time that we did shot skis and you didn't bend your knees enough. And it all poured down.
I poured it all on you?
You poured it all on me, and we've never gotten it right since. I think we just have to get shot skis right.
Well, there you
go.
That's
it. That's the answer.
That's it. That's the answer.
I think that's it.
All right. Final answer. I have gazed into the ball. I am going to be there Saturday night.
Yes.
I am going to do a shot ski.
Yes.
All of the liquor contained in the shot ski will go in all of our mouths.
Yes.
And Nashville SC will win 4-1 with another from Hani Mukhtar. Take it. Call it. Put money on it.
Yeah.
This is what's happening.
You heard it here first. It's a virtual lock at this point. All right. John just had an aneurysm, so we better wrap this up. I'm also out of beer. So we'll finish this up. But thank you so much, guys. John, do you have anything left? Do you want to tell people how to get in touch with us?
Oh, sure. I've got plenty left, Ryan.
Okay.
On Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly Twitter, we are Electric Gold NSC. Please reach out to us, follow us, like us, give us all that internet jazz that you want to give us. And honestly, I could not thank you guys enough that sent in hot takes and all hell yes and all hell no's. That is so awesome that you guys are listening to us and that you are responding to us, because it sends chills down my spine when I get a response like that.
Yeah.
Boy, we're going to do this mailbag every week, especially if we lose.
As long as we are getting feedback, we absolutely will. There's no dopamine rush like a message in your inbox, right?
Exactly. So thank you so much for listening. And I just want to say, by God, listen to our Spotify playlist. It has every good song ever made on this playlist. And right around the corner, we are right around the corner. Today is, April 21st?
Yeah.
It's pool weather coming up. If you want your family and your loved ones to love you at the pool, get out your beatbox and play our Spotify playlist, because this shit is dope.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you, John. Thank you, Evan. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We appreciate all the support. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you providing your great suggestions and commentary, as John said. Keep it up. In the meantime, keep on rooting the boys on. Don't get discouraged. Hang in there. Keep supporting the team. And keep on saying it. Come on, you boys, and go.
Come on, you boys, and go.
Come on, you boys, and go.
Dreams on Friday nights, electric vibes and stories told. Come on, you boys in gold. Waves of laughter in the air, podcast pals without a care. Sharing glorious thoughts out loud. Come on, you boys in gold. Waves of laughter in the air, podcast pals without a care. Sharing glorious thoughts out loud. Come on, you boys in gold. Electric gold.
Wait. Chicago Fire is coming to Nashville. Ooh, Chicago, Windy City. It's the place where dreams freeze to death on the L platform. Chicago, I'm going deep dish savage on you right now. It's called the Windy City, not because of the weather, but because of how full of hot air you all are. Your winters feel like punishment for the things your ancestors did. In Chicago, your face can freeze, your car can be stolen, and your pizza can give you heartburn all before 10 a.m. You shovel snow 6 months a year just so you can pay $2,300 in rent for a 700 square foot walk-up with a radiator from 1942. Way to go, Chicago. Your deep dish pizza isn't pizza, it's soup with an identity crisis. If I need a knife and a fork and 45 minutes to eat one slice, that's not pizza. That's lasagna wearing a crust. You put pickles on your hot dogs and you call that tradition. Therapy's also a tradition. Maybe you should try it. Every Chicago food sounds like it was invented during a meat shortage and a dare. Chicago's tourist motto should be, come for the architecture, stay because your Uber never showed up. In Chicago, you don't check the weather, you check the crime map. Your murder rate's higher than your graduation rate. Bold strategy, Chicago. And only in Chicago can you get shot and still be expected to show up for your shift at Portillo's. Your city has more corruption scandals than potholes, and that's really saying something. The Bears have been rebuilding for longer than the Roman Empire. You had Michael Jordan, and you still managed to be insufferable in every other sport. Cubs fans waited 108 years for a World Series just to immediately return to mediocrity the next year. Your hockey team had one good run, and now it just trades players like they're Pokemon cards. Chicago, you're a big city. What are you doing? Get it together. I loved Ferris Bueller, not going to lie. Special place in my heart for him. But I got no love for the Chicago Fire. When you come to town this weekend, we're going to give you something special. Sounds like this.
If a professional soccer team started playing in a huge city, one of the biggest cities in America, you'd notice them. If they played in a big NFL stadium in the middle of Chicago, if they ever won any games, you'd notice them. Even without winning any games, every team gets noticed now and then, unless that team happens to be tiny, pointless, inconsequential, with no fans whatsoever, and called the Chicago Fire. Cellophane, Chicago cellophane, should have been your name. Chicago cellophane, 'cause you can walk all around, talk to anybody, and never know they're there. Cellophane, Chicago cellophane, should have been your name. Chicago cellophane, 'cause you can walk right by them, look right at them, and never know they're there. A soccer team is made of more than players. With all those fans, you're bound to see them, unless that soccer team happens to be unimpressive, undistinguished, pointless, you know who. Cellophane, Chicago cellophane, should have been your name. Chicago cellophane, 'cause you can walk all around, talk to anybody, and never know they're there. Cellophane, Chicago cellophane, should have been your name. Chicago cellophane, 'cause you can walk right by them, look right at them, and never know they're there. Never know they're there. I hope they haven't taken up too much of your time.